entirety of the group stage for Six Invitational 25, and what a group stage it has been. A very competitive one, high quality, and I'm so eager to see how Phase 2 is going to continue. But before we get to Phase 2, let's close it off.
We got to finish.
With FaZe Clan versus FURIA, the El Clasico.
I mean, it's what a way to finish, right?
Yeah.
Whoever the script writer who put together the...
He's a sick individual, as Guz would say.
Is that your Guz line? Is that your Guz impression? It's like he's here in the room with us. There was good luck, have fun, ha-has in chat. But yeah, the scriptwriter who ever put these games together was like, we've got to put this in here. I don't think they built this B-Stream final day with the expectation it was going to be as...
No. Well, yeah, we walked
but you
past...
never know.
We walked past the on our way over, and we saw half the production team's gone home. We are literally on the graveyard shift for day 5.
You and I have done the most amount of rounds.
We have. You tallied it up. We're like 300 plus now.
Without even including this game. So this series is going to add an additional at least 14 if it's 2 7-0s, which it's not going to be. Up to a potential...
It's going to be 45 round.
45. Chat off, says JV92. I was going to talk about how the two teams have hit, because you mentioned FURIA came in and they lost to CAG. Then they went on their day off, and since then, 7-2, 7-5, 8-7, 7-0. Statistically, their players have been much sharper than FaZe's in the second half in these bigger games. FaZe, they found themselves drawn to sort of 3 mappers against Shopify Rebellion, against CAG. You know, they're flying high. JV92 coming into this series, 2nd highest rated player. KZ, 4th highest rated player. Philippox, 8th highest rated player. Then there's a bit of a jump, 64 to 93, but the highest is Handy for FaZe at only 18. It's sort of a really good run for FURIA that's almost hidden under the fact that they had an opening loss against CAG.
Which you can kind of almost... I mean, probably shouldn't be losing to CAG 2-0, but after the performances we've seen from CAG thus far at this tournament, you've just spilt your coffee all over yourself and all over the table. I am outing you to everyone. What has just happened? Are you okay?
No, I'm delirious. At this point, no, I choked a little bit. I did also see.
I've already lost one Coca, so I don't need to lose another one.
No, I'll try. I'm sorry. I'm entirely serious, but there is something so comical about.
Don't look at them. Don't look at the headset. Come on,
Amy.
We got a game to do. FaZe on defense, Clubhouse to begin.
Yeah.
FURIA's map pick, though, and we get underway with the El Clasico between these two teams to see who can finish first in the group. You've got to keep yourself together, otherwise I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to replace you.
Yeah. At this point, obviously, they're getting themselves the IQ. They're teched in. All the clarity. Over. Well, pretty quick hatch, action here. For a second, like he was trying to throw himself immediately down, but instead gets it open, gets the clear on the Valkyrie cam, and gets the job done. They have themselves the awareness and the option. They haven't fully opened blue hatch stock. They've just done enough so it's an angle. Oh, no, they did. It wasn't when we went past, and then in that downtime they did open it. But still, it's the angle, it's the pressure. Now, kitchen hatch is the next one to clear, get the soft work done, so you can start trying to stop them juggling against it. It doesn't seem like there's an immediate threat onto it, and there's no impact to try and catch against it, but a C4 might feel itself a little bit lucky. FaZe, they are calling and clearing all of FURIA's approach and sort of waiting for the wave to hit.
The wave might come in the form of a light screen from the ROU of Philippox on the sands. I'm going to be curious to see where he elects to send those in, whether it's through kitchen and then followed up by the drop. Could use them over towards the hallway side to allow a little bit more facilitation of movement in basement. Hertz is going to go down. KZ though with the The nade able to get one back. Hello, contact. KDS gets rid of KZ. One more here towards Lounge. Lovely shot from JV92. Keeps us all tied up into the final 30 seconds of the opening round. You've still got the ROUs available, and some of those light screens have been activated and also deactivated. And hello to the F0 mine as well. Down to 20 seconds. Time for FURIA to make their move towards the site.
3 versus 3, and they see the barrel of a gun, but it's little delicate trades either side of Blue. Handy and Cyber able to pick bodies apart, and FaLeapbox has to just sit and wait outside until he breaks his way in, gets one, but 4 seconds without the kills. He's not going to get the round, and it's locked out for FaZe. A little bit too long to try and get themselves cooked and ready to sort of clear through. Instead, an opening round here for the defenders.
A good start for FaZe defensively. Didn't have to do too much, a rather default kind of setup. FURIA, I don't think ever really got that ROU to have much of an influence within the round. FURIA also taking quite a lot of time too. 34 seconds when you get that kill. As you don't really give yourself enough time to be able to hit the site in a pretty well-organized fashion. Yeah, Kit never really ever looked like it was going to be placed onto the floor. It is Basement Clubhouse though. Good start for FaZe. We head upstairs towards Gym Bedroom for the second round. The beauty of these two teams as well, I mean, FaZe could quite literally have a, I don't know, 6-1 lead.
And FURIA please don't say that. Please just don't entertain that idea. I want a good game of Siege. I think everybody does. I want a good series. And to be honest, for me and my money, you know, sure, okay, I'm going to put in the mark that the comeback from that position was one of the greatest series of Siege ever played at the last final. But at this point in Phase 1, you kind of want traded body blows. You don't really want the big sweeps. It almost feels a bit wasted for the energy of this moment. Instead, give me the back and forths. Give me the, here's this, and I'll sort of hit you with one of these, and those sort of early, you know, like a duel.
What are you saying?
Painting an analogy. Do they have those in Australia?
No.
Oh.
We just have crocodiles and spiders and snakes.
And the Wiggles.
Which are the Wiggles?
And Bluey.
And Bluey.
People love Bluey.
And Jake and Gus.
Well, technically.
Well, just Jake.
Yeah. Deimos on the track of Handy. He's able to slip his way back without actually being entirely pressured. He'll be calling this, obviously. Herds on the back end who's looking for the rest of the fight. And no, that's just what their ability is.
Oh.
Deimos, if you don't know, you can see someone and also they can see you. They'll be reading it to each other. And usually in a well-coordinated team, you can get the pinch on the back, but clever player won't throw themselves into the opportunity, so just sort of sat, still calling, still tracking somebody who has left. Again, it works both ways. Herds, he's baiting them in. He's sort of saying, oh, you just want to find me? I'm here.
Yeah, I think that FaLeapbox has got a lot on his plate this round because you've got double hard breach with the Thatcher. So a lot of the members of FURIA are very much so, well, hello, Herds. That's a nice free kill. He's not opening up any walls. He's just opening up the round. But the kill onto KDS, it does get rid of the Warden. Good pressure from Cyber, and that is a very aggressive run out, and he doesn't find the kill. Probably should have got rewarded. He was so close to being able to get that kill back for FaZe, but FURIA maintained the player advantage. FaLeapbox still being a nuisance around that lobby side. Handy, for some reason, over towards Paul. And FaLeapbox is trying to hunt him down with the Vendetta. Misses those shots. 1-for-1 trade up above into the final 60 seconds. And again, another kind of scrappy round to begin here on Clubhouse.
Looking for a delicate fight, they thread. Cyber removed from the bathroom, and it's a 2 versus 4. So Handy, this first person trying to draw attention, was actually just a bit of a distraction for his own team's chances. Handy does find Herds underneath, but JV92 lost in an important fight against Vidaking. Now, Handy on the rotate round, 30 seconds, and well, they seem to know where he is, but he gets the first, gets the second down! A 1 versus 1, and it's all being pinged on a bulletproof. What do you do here, Nade? He slipped his way further away, and he's just trying to get himself the drop on the bulletproof. Handy! Massive end to what was a big start. They said, we're going to track you, we're going to catch you, and he went, I don't think so.
Well, there's a reason why Handy is probably one of my favorite players in Siege, if not maybe the favorite player. He's just the kind of player who is that jack of all trades. You can trust him in the clutch. He can be an entry. He is so flexible, so versatile as a player. He's the player that every single team would love to have on their roster because he's going to help you in any facet of the game. You know, he's the kind of player that you can trust in these late round scenarios. 6-1 start. And, you know, he's down. It's a 1v3. They just run at him, though. It's all too easy for Handy. This needed to be a little bit cleaner. And in the end, well, it's his brother that he takes down at the end of the round to confirm it. Yeah, again, I don't understand Portuguese, but it looks like they're having fun.
Oh, it looks like they're having such a good time. 2-0. FaZe. They get themselves off to a decent start, but remember how that round probably should have gone, and suddenly you're at the 1 versus 1 trade round situation. And is that something that they're really wanting this early on in the series, regardless of my wishes? FURIA. This is their map, and this isn't the half that they'd opt to start themselves on. In fact, to be honest, between the pair of them, they've generally had a much better time on their defense. 70% for FaZe, 66% for FURIA, whereas it's only 40% attack for FaZe, 45% for FURIA. So probably want to try and make up maybe a bit of the distance here. One more goes away from them. They might have a timeout, they might have a conversation, but how much of a grudge match this could be, maybe something where they just want to go, look, let him loose.
It's definitely a missed fight. It's definitely a missed opportunity for FURIA. They really should have got that round win, and getting an early attacking round on Clubhouse would have been incredibly beneficial for them. You don't need too many, 2 to 3, and you're absolutely golden. So to lose that one is certainly going to hurt. We head over to Cash and CCTV now for the 3rd round, and if FaZe can pull this one back out, then you got a 3-0 start. You go back around the world, do the tour, and it'll be a very comfortable start for FaZe on FURIA's map pick. Of course, that is the benefit of beginning on defense for Clubhouse. Good information from these bulletproof cameras. JB92 just wall tricking here over towards CCTV. Nade on the rappel.
Sort of slow and steady work. You can see JV scratching his head there, and you know, as I said, he comes into this sort of showdown, the 2nd best rated player in the tournament so far. He's always been around the top 5, regardless of what he's playing in, and maybe there's something about playing against FaZe. It's like the sort of old Wolves versus BDS, but it doesn't really matter who you're up against. Blind, chance at an air jab. KDS isn't followed through and finally found.
Yeah. I mean, it was Nade, though. I don't think KDS was ready for that, and Nade certainly was, and Handy's just absolutely destroyed him. FURIA, though, because of Herd, still maintained that very slight advantage. But yeah, I don't think KDS was ready for the player on the breach rappel. He tried to set the air jab off and then get back into position on rafters, but ultimately lost his life, gives up garage control. Over towards FURIA. They can play through that if they want. Right now, no real map control, but Felipox makes his way in. Bulletproof camera dealt with. 40 seconds with main breach opened up. It's cooking well enough for FURIA. They're in a very good position this round, but all it takes is a kill from, say, Cypher. Double stack towards rafters. If he gets 1 or 2, that will be the round, and Felipox does have the diffuser.
But smoked out for now. 2 more in pocket. They can cover the default plant spot for as long as they want, and even double down with a bit of crossover here. So Herds maybe has to try and make the great distance, the divide, and cut their way across. But a Bulletproof is pinging all of this towards them now. Vidaking stepping in. KZ gets another, leaving just Vidaking alone. There's a hold outside. The first take didn't quite make it land. Herds grabbed that round, drove it back in, and 2-1. FURIA, they're able to pull the 3rd round into their favor, but it could just as easily be 2-1 the other way. So Church and Arsenal, love to see what FURIA start to cook as their response for what was easily the round that got away from them. This point, still early doors, still smiles, still
Early doors?
Early doors, yeah.
Early days.
Early doors and early days.
Okay.
I mean, I think early
it's a
doors
better round, at least from FURIA. I mean, they understood that KDS was pretty much by himself and rafters, no real support, no real help, and because they got main breach opened up early on, they could get pressure from both sides. It was well executed, and also just hit some really good shots elsewhere. Otherwise, you know, it wasn't really anything too special. Pretty default round from both teams. And Cash and CCTV, certainly one of the sites that attacking teams will typically have a bit more success on. As you said, Church Arsenal now, and then after that, Gym Bedroom are going to be the sites that FURIA really need to get at least one from. I mean, in theory, you could just get the 2 on cash both times. Means you're going to have to be a bit more perfect, though, in your second half on defense. No room for error. Blackbeard in play by KZ this time around.
Now, obviously, I'm still sort of vying up the potential of pace more than anything. Obviously, the Blackbeard had sort of might be a bit of a chance for KZ, but it was getting the hard breaches open, getting themselves set up and formulated towards the approach of Church that seemed to pull them apart. They've not really got anything directly to sort of track and hunt down players.
Well, it's a roam game, yeah. I mean, and so you're right. If they aren't prepared for this, it could spell disaster for FURIA. You know, you've got to clear out rafters. There's also pressure towards top red stairs, but this is where the Blackbeard's going to be really good for it. Never mind, it's dead. KZ opted for the fight. And I was going to say that with the shield, you can kind of go around corners and such a little bit more safely. He opts to take the fight first. Nade does get the response. KDS was never going to get away from rafters. Ooh. Everyone else should try and get back downstairs, but Cyber couldn't make it back.
Oh,
and
JV
almost got another.
Missed both moments there. They're happy to try and double in, but JV doesn't need to stress this fight right now. Vidaking wants it, because if he can get this player in oil, which he does, then it levels things up. If JV had sort of sat there.
Well, yeah, he probably felt pressure, didn't he? And that's why he had to swing out. But you're right. If he had sat there, waited for reinforcements, the pressure from Secret, and get them off with Generator, he maybe could have survived and got out of Oil Pit.
Look what they've lost now, though. Obviously, don't have the Maverick. Try and get through the electrified hatches. Cade, you assuming Kitchen's going to be locked at least for a period. You can try and trick it with the exothermic around the side if you know, you're able to get that formulated, but it's much easier for them to counter. If that was clawed.
You can play Moto. You got one exothermic.
But what do you do with it? You might need it for Pipes Wall. You might need it for the approach down underneath. At this point, when you're on a body disadvantage even further now.
Yeah, it's going to make it very difficult now for Philippox and Nade to kind of sort through this, because you've probably still got Vulcan canisters downstairs that you have to eventually get through too. That's going to be even more time denial. 45 seconds. Philippox just opting for a blue side push. Don't even know where Nade ended up dying, but he's completely dead. And Philippox now in 1v3, pushing into one of the tougher sites on this map. Yeah, can't hit the initial shot. One left side, one right side. Does eventually get one onto Handy, but obviously the numbers will prevail for FaZe Clan as they take out Basement once again.
Was it as convincing? In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. The fact that they didn't they seemed prepared for the roam game. They seemed to have the awareness. The Blackbeard went for the fight, but obviously they didn't quite have the maybe the operators that would have been a bit sharper with it. It got very traded back and forth. Did they slip away from them more than they could have? Yes. That pickup was great. This pickup, great. Sort of moments there where FURIA tried to punish. FaZe were gifted a bit more of the play space and the operator utility. And towards Jim now, they could themselves set up for the 4-2 half on this. Remember, it came down to a 1 versus 1, and a huge amount of that was Handy surviving.
Well, it was a 1v3.
Yeah.
And he created that 1 versus 1 by getting the first 2. So, I mean, yeah, FaZe are looking pretty good right now. Handy, especially in the first couple of rounds, he is on a 247 EPS, which is quite staggering. He's a 7-2, 1-0 in the entry, 2.3 KPR. Sensational start from him. So far, these attacks from FURIA, though, haven't really left me feeling as if this is the best version of this roster that I've ever seen. It's, to be fair, if you want to give them leeway, it's Clubhouse. You know, you can only do so much on this map at this point in the era of Siege. That's going to surprise people or, you know, change things up too much. And also, putting perspective on this match, yes, they're both battling for first place in the group, but you're going to finish second either way. You're not really going to go too deep into the strat book at this point when we're so close to some more important matches to come, Phase 2, Phase 3, etc. So
there's obviously so much story behind this based on last year, based on being the 2 sort of top dog teams from the region, based on being the ones that are kind of fated, based on familial relationships. But they've probably played each other more than anybody else. There's that sort of seated familiarity. As I said, it's like Wolves and BDS. Sometimes you get against an opponent and it just, you play different because you're against this opponent, and maybe that's something where FURIA start to shut down a little
Look at this
bit.
from Handy. A little lurk in towards Kitchen. So these are the little things that you certainly can do on a map like Clubhouse. If you don't get droned out or spotted out, you know, FURIA at some point may want to get main stairs control. Handy then can flank him behind. Or even if they don't go for main stairs, of course, they're coming in through Jacuzzi. So that's top main stairs. So you offer that point of difference. I don't know where Nade was going. The front door was certainly not open for the taking. Hurts in on the Amaru. Repels in. Don't forget about Handy, though, of course, pushing up main stairs. Hello, there's the flank. It is successful. Nicely done from Handy. They do lose Fitterking and Souls immediately. Nice little trade from Philippe Pox and KZ does give FURIA the advantage in this fast-paced attack. But Jim Bedroom so far is proving to be quite beneficial, but some key areas being held still by the remaining duo of FaZe. Bathroom for Cyper. Handy was top main, but he's been taken out by KZ. And on this side, again, it's a 1v3, but a different end to this round. One that goes in favor of FURIA, and a change-up of pace works perfectly.
3-2. Now they have the choice of where they're going to go and theoretically why. It's that sort of moment here, that conversation where it could be 3-2 the other way. How much of this is falling away from FaZe, and that will be revealed on the second half. It's closer than close. And it's just such an effective shutdown here. The sort of positional drive of FURIA after the conversations about those rounds looking down a bit worse for wear on their attacks, a little bit disjointed. They then pull out moves like that and you're like, oh no, they still have this. It's just Church and Arsenal seems to escape them a bit. And thankfully for them, they don't have to try and attack it again. We are rotating continually off towards CC, and you know, even this one, there could have been a moment where things slipped away. Obviously, a lot of utility on towards the Rafters player. Still some smokes that were trying to get themselves sorted, if not for great play from KZ.
It's a stall-out setup from FaZe. So the tuber out, castle barricade. You've got the gas canisters from the smoke. Hayid, of course, electric claw. So you know, you're basically saying to FURIA, you're going to have to deal with those. Bring the Maverick or bring a Thatcher. In this case, it's the Maverick. Yeah, so for FaZe, it's maybe a question of if we can get this round down to the last 30 seconds and then FURIA have to scramble. Yeah, Cash and CCTV is certainly a site where scrambling is not always going to be a very good option because you've still got to clear, say, down below. Lounge, you've got Nitro options too, Handy and KDS. At some point, they'll probably want to eventually rotate down to Lounge, play off of those Nitros. The FURIA then have to respect that, get first floor control and top floor control. And you can't do a lot of that with, 30, 40 seconds left. So the goal here for FaZe is to just deny as much time as possible. And he does have his Nitro early. And sometimes does get thrown to try and get the kill onto the Maverick or do a lot of damage, be a nuisance. You have those Zodo canisters again as well. They're not going to stop the Maverick, but you can also stop positions from being moved into with those. If you're pushing up rafter stairs, you can just throw some Zodos down there, stall them out, hard to push. He's actually over towards garage at the moment.
Taking a while to get the wall open here and trying to find the last anchor point, and he doesn't seem to quite know where it's connected, so there we go, clean drive across the top, and they finally find the end of it in the Ash breach.
It's taken too long.
Yeah, that's a minute 30 for the Maverick and the Ash to get that wall open. Remember, they still got to try and force KDS out of this position as well. You've maybe got the gridlock trick stingers to get yourself some back towards it, but at this point you're thinking, okay, well, there needs to maybe be a plan B push here. Otherwise, you're just going to be charging.
I don't know what the plan is for FURIA as well with this lineup. I mean, this is a strange one. I'm going to be very curious to see if they can pull this one out. I like the setup for FaZe. I think FaZe are actually in a really good position in this round.
Spent more time this round watching Mavericks.
We're just watching a Maverick blowtorch through the map, and that's about it. There's 60 seconds left. They haven't even contested garage yet.
Mavericks. I mean, the plan involves a lot of mavericking, but the first engagement goes away from them. KDS is able to get a take.
This round's over.
Oh, what the heck?
Wow, KDS.
Unbelievable. I was about to say, what is he doing? That is death. And then he pulls 2 kills out like that. Hip firing. The TCSG.
FURIA's half asleep there. I mean, this is an awful attacking round from FURIA. From the lineup to the slow build-up to the poor map tricking. I mean, there's nothing that's worked for them in this round. It's a GG, go next kind of situation. They've been absolutely torn to shreds here by FaZe. We had a really good game plan, really good setup. And in the end, I think KDS just got bored. KDS is sitting in rafters and he's just wondering, are you guys going to push? Are you going to push me out of here? And he's like, I'll do it myself. I'll just jump over and kill you all. Round is done. Half is done. 4-2 to FaZe.
I mean, the confidence of being like, yeah, obviously, we see all the operators. We know the utility. Maybe there's a moment where he's like, oh, they'll probably like start pushing with Capitao or push with the pressure or push with Ying or push with whatever. You can see the frustration on JV92 there. But at the same time, the decision to just like hop over the side and just spray. Look at this. The first one. Look at that as the second kill. The first was like.
But what is that plan though, Emmy? Double push in towards bot garage through a Mav hole with the kit. Where are you going?
I think that is a bad plan.
Where are you going exactly? Yeah, I mean, it's a strange round for FURIA. They never even looked likely, which is strange because they actually won Cash and CCTV before. And they had a, honestly, much better lineup for it. They brought the Ying that particular time, the Zofia, the Nomad, and it felt more like a constructed plan. And then they switched it up. They brought then the Habana, the Flores, and the IQ. And it's just like they ended up changing out the operators that worked for them for operators that did nothing in that round. So yeah, that's one for the trash heap when it comes to FURIA attacking onto that round. That's one game plan that you can throw into the bin. As we head into the second half now, 4-2 half. Again, it's kind of that par for the course. When it comes to Clubhouse, slight advantage for FaZe. Final series of the day. Final series, the Six Invitational group stage. Winner of this, in any fashion, will finish first in their group and get a little head start in Phase 2.
I mean, it's huge, right? Obviously, if you get in first, the minimum you can finish is 12th, because there'll be all the teams eliminated from groups. That takes us down to 16, and then the 4 that start in the lower bracket or the 4 that drop from the game before. So you're guaranteed to outplace at least 8 other people, and the prize pool difference for that jumps for the winner of this game as a guarantee jumps from, I think, $50,000 to $75,000. So it's a big, big game as well. Just for winning this, from then on they could lose every other game, and still they set themselves the guarantee. These two teams probably aren't.
No, they're in a different bracket where they're thinking far more than just, you know, minimum of 12. It would be a failure for both of them.
It would be a ludicrous tale.
I think this should be the grand final again.
All right. I mean,
FaZe strikes back.
Who knows? It would be a great story, but at this point, with how some of these games have gone, all my predictions on who is going to be in the final or not are just thrown to the side. And as is thrown to the side here, the pressure on. The Monty wants to find a fight with Herds over the cash money, but there's a position on top red that's sort of forcing them out. It's quite aggressive, FURIA's hold here, but it's all protective. And if one of these positions falls, suddenly the whole thing might start to unravel. There's KZ under pressure, and he's not even sure where from. Ghost with guns are affecting him. Herds tries to slip out, but Cyber's gone down. Philippox has been able to find Cyber, and that is actually the support for the approach here. So Vidiking is now sort of disco dancing either side, needs the buck to start putting pressure in of Souls. KDS does find Philippox, and a second. That was the swing up the bottom of the stairs, and now KZ tries to drift out. Nade gets KDS, gets some cover. Vidiking goes down as well into the fight of 2 versus 2. Everybody died in Garage and Cash, and we have 40 seconds now to attack the basement site.
Yeah, I mean, I hope people weren't confused. This is Church Arsenal, and yes, we were very much playing around Cash and Top Red and Garage. Handy also quite low. So is KZ. I mean, this is a pretty equal 2 versus 2 into the final 20 seconds. Diffuser in hand for Handy. Oh, Kumai, not ideal at this point as he's pushing in through Oil Pit, and I think this is pressure that FURIA could collapse upon. Flashbang, not ideal either. One more still available for Handy. Vulcan canister pop. They are aware of JV92's position. Good kill for Souls onto KZ. JV pops out one, but then traded by Handy, and FaZe take the round. Huge round for FaZe to take out the basement site on the attack, and definitely now gives them a solid buffer. 5-2 lead.
5-2. And no up as far as I can see for a timeout or a conversation at this point. FURIA, they think they can sort of play their way back into this. It's been 2 rounds either side of the half at this point, but one more goes away and suddenly you're staring down map point every single time. Map point on your point, and you've, well, got every side open to you, but there's always going to be a tertiary. There's always going to be a risk on a secondary. But if they can sort of reset themselves, set themselves up to do what they haven't so far in this series and tie multiple rounds together, again, you know, you're looking at 5-2. You can't argue with a 5-2, but you can point out that it very easily could have been closer. Could have been a 4-3 if that 1 versus 3 didn't happen.
Yeah, the 1v3, even that 2v2 right there. I mean, the rounds themselves have been categorically close.
Yeah.
Despite the scoreline having a 3-round advantage. But that, I think, just highlights the quality that FaZe are playing with at this tournament so far is, you know, if FURIA aren't on their game in these situations, which they weren't in the 3v1, they absolutely trolled that. And FaZe are good enough, all 5 members, that they can, of course, then punish that extensively. And I think that's what's been happening here. There is that 5 to 10% gap between these two teams right now in the way they're playing. FURIA have had too many moments in these rounds where you kind of question them. So far, I have not found myself questioning FaZe.
No. I mean, FaZe, although they've played a long tournament with a lot of 3 mappers, they've played a good tournament. They haven't lost a series. They've made sure that they keep themselves competitive across all of it, and they're always seemingly in control of the pace as well. And that's something that a lot of teams have struggled with across every single group, across pretty much every single showdown. More mavericking. We get Jacuzzi opened up. They're getting all of their sort of base work done. It's one of the compliments that, you know, we've paid to FaZe whilst watching them, is they're very good at making sure that all the fundamental jobs are off and done. And yeah, they sort of hoped someone would gift on the back of it, but the E1D doesn't get a response. We hear a Fenrir.
I like this, though. So KDS on the Nook can go towards main stairs, slowly make their way up. So typically, Jacuzzi gets opened up. You can get main stairs pressure. The clash has been brought over to Logistic. Good shot from KZ. Cyber does also go down, and with that, FURIA have got themselves a decent lead. The only world in which FaZe are going to win this round is if Nate doesn't spot the Nook on main stairs, but he has good movement on the clash. Didn't just get sidetracked and push over towards Jacuzzi, leaving the side vulnerable. He checks it properly. Now he has the information. And in a 5-on-3 where you know exactly where one is, and another one outside on Jacuzzi, you've got a lot of information here on the trio of FaZe. This is a round FURIA absolutely cannot lose from here. I'm not saying they can't, they just shouldn't, and they probably won't now with that kill from JV on Davidic. Now creates almost impossible situation. Poor old KDS, he had one job, he couldn't really do anything because everyone else just died. He does get a stat pad though, there's one for good measure. FURIA though, always in control that round. Really, really solid teamwork.
5-3, and they get themselves sort of stepped up and, you know, building back into it. It's round by round, it's step by step, as I said before, but they haven't been able to tie 2 rounds together. And that's still the point of a conversation, actually, that they're going to have. This is now when FURIA call their timeout. This is where they want to build on the back of success. It's a tried and true method. To be fair, it's maybe the conversation of, look, we've just won gym, but we lost church. So do we want to go back to church? Do we want to see if we can try and make that land again? Because remember how that round played out. Spoiler alert. Not really in church. It all went on with FURIA refusing to give up ground around CCTV and cash. But then there's also the option of, well, maybe we go to our tertiary. We've got to probably win it anyway. We've got to make something happen here.
Yeah, I mean, it's what, 5-3, you're on defense club, FURIA taking the timeout, probably not because of that previous round, but as you said, more so looking towards the future, where do we go? And if we do go to, say, a cash and CCTV, how do we want to play this? It's so quiet in there when there's not...
It's so... Okay.
SSG and Oxygen on the other side screaming at each other like we had in the earlier series. There's obviously the case, for those unaware, you usually have 4 different teams all playing at the same time. The A stream, the B stream, but because this is the only game remaining...
It is.
It is really dead quiet in there.
It's also because obviously there's a lot of people behind the scenes.
Yeah, less production people
run
around
these shows.
Yep. It's like it's a graveyard in there right now.
Truly down to a skeleton crew.
And us.
The best?
The best crew.
The best crew.
On the best stream, which is the B stream.
Obviously,
the best game.
There's no desk for B stream as well. There hasn't been during phase 1. So all the desk talent, the hosts, loud
We
voice.
are literally the only ones in the building right now.
We could do anything. This
We
is
could do anything.
This is like Home Alone. Or like Home Alone 2. Or
Home Alone 3.
no, it's nothing like that. 5-3. FaZe versus FURIA. Let's see what the timeout nets them.
That's the big thing, is what have they actually discussed with that timeout? Now that it's concluded, we get back underway. 9th round. FURIA opting to go cash and CCTV. Big round coming up from them. You look at the lineup that they've got. So Philippox on the Mozzie, the anticipation here is going to be lounge control and keeping that first floor very much defended and protected for FURIA. Bandit and Kaid, self-explanatory. You're going to have to bring that Maverick. Maverick's going to have to do a lot of work. Other than that, pretty simple lineup. But yeah, Philippox holding kitchen at the moment. I think he has been droned out. If he had, well, wait, did he get droned? I think it might have been a misdrone initially, and now KDS is aware. Yeah, now he's aware. Okay, so it was a misdrone initially. KDS then spots him out, and then now, obviously, for Philippox, he has to rotate away, heads towards bot main. And I like that because it says to FaZe, hey, you're going to have to hunt me down. You're going to have to find me. And you've still got KZ towards lounge. So a large amount of map control right now for FURIA because of the way that KZ and Philippox are playing. But it's a big part of the win condition that they don't die and that they are effective.
Well, that's it. Philippox has drifted himself not too far away from main stairs. He can slip back if he needs to. But look in the distance, KZ's actually rotated up. Gone to reinforce the players on the top. And, you know, that means Handy is going to see if he can try and get this isolated engagement here. He's going for the swing.
Oh, no.
And he doesn't get it! Handy! What? Sat, waited, and then didn't really do what he needed to do there. Philippox, he has absolutely stolen that kill, and that makes things even worse.
Yeah, that makes it a lot harder now for FaZe in this round. You've lost Handy, sure, but it's the fact that Philippox is still alive with a Nitrocell Emmy. And the reason why that's important is he's in lounge. He can now play Vert down below. They need to deal with him again, but there's only 35 seconds left, and look at where all the members of FaZe are currently located. They have no first floor pressure. So if Philippox stays around there, that Nitrocell could be huge. And there's a second one too on the hands of Herd. So 20 seconds left. Even though it's a 4v5, surely FURIA can close this round out. And yeah, they're just waiting, bunkered down for that push from FaZe. It's about to be 5-4 on the scoreboard, and it's flawless. Flawless FURIA.
Whatever they talked about worked. Flawless hold. And I mean, yeah, sure, that engagement could have gone the other way, but at the same time, what did they sort of do from there? You know, it's the player down underneath. You've got to put the pressure onto the site. You've still got this heavy backline, and their plan was to throw themselves through it. There wasn't a massive amount of time left, and just a little bit of a failed adaptation. I mean, this was rough.
I mean, really good positioning. I know it's like a very small little detail, but Philippox's micro movement there is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Your average player, myself, would have just panicked and stood still and tried to shoot back, but he moves a little bit just to the left, which breaks that line of sight, makes it harder for Handy to hit all of those shots. Stays alive, swings back, headshot, dead. So, I mean, just little micro plays, and this is why these are the best players in the world.
It's the headset, apparently.
Oh, okay.
The headset buff, I'm being told.
The
That's
headset
obviously
buff.
not true, but I've been able to. I can look at it now. I think it was.
You can look at it now?
Yeah. There's something about silly hats I find very enjoyable, and it reminds me of that. But it's all the players' comfort, you know. It's how they wanted it. It's not for any reason other than that, and that's the most important thing. 5-4. Now, FaZe, will they find themselves suddenly tied level? It's the weird sort of statement to make is that, well, the site to make this happen is Church Arsenal, right? And how this sort of opened was massively explosive on the top floor. Everybody was dead here in a roam game. There was a bit more of a sort of, you know, tentative grasp on a roam game in the last round. As we saw, there was two players that were a little bit loose. One of them rotated back up to the site, and the other one, Philippox, went underneath and
it's
and
the
got a
risk
kill.
that you take when you play that, and sometimes it works. I've seen plenty of times where the roam defensive game for Church Arsenal does work. You go up, you get 1 or 2 kills, you go back down, but it just ended up being too much of a brawl. Like, it was just a proper brawl, too many trades. No one on either side could get out of it until it was completed. Everyone had basically died that was in that battle, and then 2v2 was remaining. Clearly, Furia's lineup here is bunker down on site, delay as long as possible, and then good luck.
Well, you can see they're sort of communicating and working out the timing there. KZ was looking over to his teammate's monitor to line up his C4, so they have the camera. Felipox, I believe, is the one that has this sort of set up so they can time this perfectly. There it is. And between that teamwork...
Yeah, cam spotted, though, so the cam alone kind of gives away that that's just going to be a Nitrocell location. Good drone work from FaZe. Do lose that, 5 remaining. Getting some decent information, and you can see immediately Souls is ready. But by no means is this going to be... Well, they haven't actually dealt with the Vault cam. But they're aware of it, and that's really more than anything that matters. Finally, the cam does get shot out. KC's still going to stick around here. No longer really has the visual confirmation.
Yep.
But he can still play off auditory information. Oh. And Souls was trying to bait it. You could see the little tiptoe dancing of Souls. Floorboard, then back in, then floorboard, bam, Nitrocell. And you could see he did get a little bit spooked when that one exploded. Another advantage for FURIA to kickstart a round.
And you lose the buck as well, so the control over the sort of corridor around the hatch itself and kitchen is gone. They're trying to push on the back of this so they can put the threat high onto Blue, onto Moto. The smoke stopped the push on the back of the Candelas. Whether another gets thrown out, but they're dropping into each other's fire line, blinded by their teammates' push, and here it's just spraying and hoping. Cyber is able to get one at least back onto them, but Vidaking massively hurt. A close swing round on the player on the pipes wall. Cyber gets his second, though. It's actually a rotate around the long route onto the back of Moto, but they don't know, and Vidaking gets one, but there is the Moto player. But look at the timer here, Jay. 5 seconds. Got to try and stick the kit, but Vidaking doesn't have it, so the fight is Nade! The last line of defense is the most powerful as he tears through the approach on Blue. And a timeout from FaZe at 5-5.
Well, I mean, yeah, some absolutely crucial shooting from Nade with 3-4 seconds. I think it was 4 seconds left on the clock. They get the kill onto the player who has the diffuser. It goes on the ground, but I think at that point it was still a 1v2. Nade was low. He just goes for the shots, hits them all, and it's all this kind of split-second decision-making that these pros have to make.
Yep.
It's very easy in that moment to say, just hide. You know, that's typically the first call of instinct, just hide, but you're never quite sure. Does someone have an angle? 4 seconds, easy for someone to run at me and then kill me. So he backs himself in, hits some incredible shots, forces a FaZe timeout, and FURIA tie it up 5-5.
The decisions you make are so you have a chance. And if that chance is best decided by, you know, leaning into the fight, if that chance is best decided by hiding or going for the plant, that is how things are cooked. And he believed his best chance was to lean into the fight. And I mean, FURIA crawled at first, but then clawed and then ran to where they are now. 5 apiece from 5-2. We said it at the time after they lost their first defending round that they haven't taken the time out. They think they might be able to get one, and then, you know, the 5-3 gap isn't a million miles away. And they have proven that. This is obviously their map. We might find ourselves stretching along.
I did say, I mean, 8-7, 8-7, 8-7 for this series. We're going the distance, 45 rounds.
We haven't had a 45-round game at all from anybody.
It's happening right here.
If it would happen to anybody, it's happening to us.
Well, honestly, at this point, I really hope we do get a proper finale for the group stage for Six Invitational 25, because it has been so high quality. It would be very fitting that this match is the best one to close it on. And so far, these two, again, just absolutely neck and neck. It was that 5-2 lead for FaZe, but FURIA have brought it back over the last 3 rounds. Tie us all up, and being on defense, they can very well close this out. Gym bedroom. And then over to Cash and CCTV, where they looked quite strong earlier. And we've already had so many moments from multiple players. KDS, the Vault.
Yep.
Handy at the very beginning as well. Now, obviously, Nade. KZ's had some big moments as well. I mean, this is what these players are capable of at this level. These are the absolute stars.
We've had moments that have, you know, it sort of shows, obviously, how deep, how long this first week is. It's a lot of Siege. You're playing back-to-back, high intensity all the time. And it started a little bit scrappy, but it shows how quickly these teams get in to each other and get against each other and get themselves stacked back up.
You just find that energy, especially in a matchup such as this, you know, inter-regional rivalry that these two have had, and whether it be in the Brazilian League or whether it be at these major events, like they always seem to find each other. KZ thinking about maybe a peek of the gym window, but he has got pressure. Jacuzzi Breach has been opened up. 3 stack out there for FaZe. Been a slow-paced round. 60 seconds remaining here for gym bedroom. Of course, main objective has been opened up in terms of that breach. And KDS, I think, will eventually make his way up main stairs. On the Deimos, still has 3 death marks. So he makes the push. Vidaking wants to try and get in on the Blackbeard with the shield up. KZ, though, still in an awkward position. Does manage to get himself out of it. The F not mine being a nuisance. But it's Cyber that finds the kill onto KZ. Eventually deals with FURIA. And now position in towards Gym.
Traded back and forth, but they're in Gym and in the bathroom and putting the pressure back, knocking them out of their own sight at 4 versus 2. Pulls onto the Deimos, just downs him, and elsewhere, KDS. Vidaking's going to see if he can stick it. It is just JV92.
Look at their health as well. I mean, this is certainly winnable for JV92. Up onto the rappel goes Cyber. Still inside of Gym is Vidaking on that Blackbeard. Shield is certainly going to remain up. Cyber, can he make his way over towards the balcony? That might be the best course of action. Still on the roof, still low. JV, though, now also finds himself very, very low. The kid does not drop. He has to long arm it. We look on up towards that window, of which Cyber does now drop onto the subroof. Does JV have the patience to hold this angle, or maybe even go for the jump out? 13 seconds, and he finds a kill! Oh, JV 92! And Hertz also kills KDS from the grave for some comedic value on a very stressful round. FURIA have got map point.
There's a part of me that wished it ended with the hatch being shot out. That would be, I think, the first time I've seen and casted that mechanic, especially at a big tournament. For those who don't know, that also stops the diffuser. And, I mean, it was maybe an inch from being on the right place on the hatch itself. But still, that fight, you could see he knew he needed to go out the window. The fight needed to leave the building. It wasn't being offered to him.
Well, you know what's interesting, Emmy? It's 2 rounds in a row that FURIA have pulled off essentially a 1 versus 2 clutch late in the round, where, you know, the time is dwindling and it's very, very low. Nade previously in basement, you know, 4 seconds on the clock, he gets a double kill, they win the round. Then it's JV92, 1 versus 2. In a post-plant situation with a Blackbeard involved as well. So there's a lot of difficulty here that you've got to traverse for JV92 in that moment, in that round. OT secured for FURIA. Cash and CCTV, the next location, the next site. Must win for FaZe if they want to extend this very map.
FaZe, will they pull us into OT here? They started so strong, but it's been a long time since they've tasted success on their attack.
It was 5-2. Now it's 5-6.
Never count them out. World-class teams, that's the problem with them. You never count them out. Here, the extension over towards stock itself. Obviously, we complimented the loose play, the roam play, and I had a couple of questions on the approach.
Is FURIA the team that throughout 2024, certainly dropped off a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
But are they peaking at the right time? Imagine they top this group. Many will start to believe they could go for back-to-back hammers.
Like G2 fans.
Long way to go. Long way to go. But they are starting to play some of their better Siege at the right time. And that cannot be debated.
Well, trying to catch the drone, stop them getting the intel. I mean, look how much denial there is. Purely refusing to let them have routes through until the wall gets opened up. But even then,
4 drones left, by the way, 2 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, look at the mute jammers, the Mozzie combinations. They truly were like, no, you will see nothing this round. And with the extension into stock, that might be why it's a bit dangerous. You have the hatch to drop down and get out of there.
Well, it's also a site of which is a little bit more multi-layered. First floor battle, super important. If you don't have the drone information, it's going to favor the defense. They need more pressure up to rafters too. JV92 just chilling right now. Yeah, he knows the Montang and where it is. Breach has been to open up towards CCTV. Cyber just getting anti, runs deep. What? Cyber, that's oh so aggressive and does get rightfully punished. You have no right to go for that kind of play. They lose Vitter King. With that, Emmy, I think they're going to lose this map. FURIA were down 5-2, and they're going to make it 5 successful rounds straight to take this map from FaZe. Souls and KDS, but he falls to JV92, and Demons of SI24 returning for FaZe as they give up a significant lead to the El Clasico brothers of FURIA. 1 for Souls, 4 more required, but surely he hasn't got it within him. He is getting shot while he's outside the map.
I think at this point, FURIA want to be done with this map and moving on, and now we are. What a return in towards a clubhouse that was just drifting further and further and further away from them. FaZe disappeared. A bit the dash through the site, being caught out time and time again. These little gunfights going into the side of FURIA. They're just missing that pinpoint aggression that we've sort of come to expect from FaZe there. And you can see that they're a bit lost, a bit confused. How that fell away from them. They were in such a strong part. And, well, let's go to a break before we're back. Break it down.
Back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Back to the back to the back to the back to the back. Take it back, take it back. Back it up, 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 back it up. Take it back, take it back. Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Back to the back to the back to the back to the back.
It's about time.
One more song. You choose.
I've got just the one.
And now with 24 seconds left to go, Loira has to make a deep rotation, finding Wando on the J1 a shot, and this is why he's the demon. Loira finding 3!
Low HP bodies on each respective side. Uno, he's getting aggressive. That's the presser show. It might help you out a little bit, but oh my god! Good for one here, and should be onto Bowen. Getting that plant down. Alum out to the bottom. For the yellow pig as well! Engage for Alum!
The Psycho kill as well. They're just pushing for the fight. He's on the back end. But 1 versus 1 with the demon!
Excellent
excellent patience here from CAG. Shuri holding it down, taking some damage. Flaz sticking the plant, not falling off. He commits, and Shuri gets the down. Go to, so why not? Oh!
And if the overextension comes in from Lender, he might get a chance. Can he hit his shots? Yes! Lands the first, hits the second.
Do not die. Don't give them the 1v1. Oh, what have you done? You've died. C4 goes in.
Do at this point. He can converge on his position. He's got to be ready for this. The ace has got a whip. He somehow does. Can finish this. Surely land the C4.
But shut down now by Newers. Wary about these frost mats that could be sitting under the windows as well as this angle below gym wall. Newers now the last man standing. He's good for 4 as well as the ace.
Two people have to come here and nothing to respond from Fatal. But can they get the case back down? Gomez taking a fight. He can hide. The case going back down now.
Well, welcome back into what was a little bit of a surprise factor. I know we sort of talked about it and you said big comebacks are cool, sort of memories of the previous game, and I want to trade it rounds. Well, these two teams disagreed. FaZe screamed into the lead in the opening half.
Seen that before.
5-2. And then what happened next?
And then FURIA just brought it all the way back. I mean, it's like, come on, scriptwriter, finding some new material.
You're lazy, John.
You're
Ubisoft.
lazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was ultimately FURIA's clubhouse. It almost went into OT. There was clutches from either side, big plays from either side. And I feel like we're just getting started. Now, technically, this game is only the battle for first place. It's the bye. It gets you in a good position. But at the same time, you're up against each other. You're up against the team that either took your dreams away from you or
honestly,
tried
FaZe
to.
might just be like, you know what? We don't care about first. We want to go to bed.
Is that you if you're a FaZe player?
No, I would want to win. I would actually want to win so badly. I would want to stomp these guys because of what they did at Six Invitational 24.
Yeah.
But, you know, credit to FURIA because, honestly, the first half, like, some of those attacking rounds weren't particularly amazing.
No.
15 and 6 in the end from JB92. KZ pops off 13 and 8. And you can just see the discrepancies. To be fair, I mean, Handy had a really, really hot start. I think he had like 7 kills in the first 2 rounds and then 3 kills for the rest of the map, which is obviously not ideal. But I think for FaZe, Skyscraper should be a map where they're going to be very, very strong. This is a map I think that they're going to be able to win. I've got Bank locked in. Take it to the bank.
We probably will. I mean,
it would be fitting for the day of 2-1s on the stream.
One more 2-1.
Why not one more? You know what? Why not?
A 9-map day. There hasn't been one yet.
No, I do genuinely think FaZe have got a very strong understanding of Skyscraper and the way that it needs to be played. If you think actually back to, I keep repeating SI24 because obviously this is a matchup that they played, historical, but Skyscraper was one of those maps. It was a map in which actually FaZe brought back. You know, we kind of talk about FURIA's ability to get back into games, but they were down 5-1. They got one crucial attacking round. It was an ultra defensive sided map. Clubhouse was as well. So these two teams are very good at defending. Skyscraper, a map, of course, in which defense usually does prevail. FaZe will be attacking first, so less pressure on them. They only need to get like 1 or 2 rounds early on in the first half, and that could be enough to break FURIA. FURIA just need to try and at least win the first 3 rounds, and that will set them up. So first half's going to be so important coming into the second map. Again, a reminder for those watching, the winner of the series, it doesn't matter if it's a 2-1 or a 2-0 or for whoever, they will finish first in their group. So there is a lot riding still on this particular match. You do want to finish first. There is a big benefit.
Yep.
We've mentioned it many times. This is not an elimination game, sure, but it's still a big game for these two teams. And there's always the aspect of, you know, you want to beat your rivals.
You couldn't get a bigger rival story than the people that were in the final with you last time at this very event, the most treasured trophy, the most sort of prestigious event the game has to offer, which you dedicate your life to.
And I wouldn't be surprised if these two teams meet again. I'm not saying that it would be the final by any means, but you know, there's a decent likelihood that they could certainly match up at some point. The lower bracket run, for example, maybe even in the upper bracket. So you want to get, you know, you want to have the wood over them. You want to be able to play well against them. And clearly these are two teams. Now, historically, FaZe is better in like Brazil League. They will always beat FURIA, and when they used to be W7M in Brazil League. And I can't remember if it was maybe Nade who had an interview, and he's like, yeah, I can't recall it is. I shouldn't name Nade, but someone on the side of FURIA was like, yeah, they always beat us locally, but we always beat them internationally. Well, here's another opportunity for FURIA to beat FaZe internationally.
I mean, I know what you'd prefer, really, and it's that sort of split. Like, is that opportunity. FURIA, they get themselves obviously off to a decent start. And I said it at the start of this. Yes, sure, they lost their opening play day, took the break. But since coming back from that, have been brilliant. They've just cleared their way through every single map. They had, I believe, the only 7-0 across any setup of teams throughout groups as well. And
I just realized, by the way, there was like a videographer. They must have got the late shift. Poor guy.
Just like us.
You got the schedule for the day, and it's like, oh, you're doing this game.
I said 9 map, but that was what it was before this. Obviously, it's always at least 11, but will we get full 12?
Oh, actually, it's the team videographer. Still the same. Still the same, you know? You had to wait all the way to the end of the day. Taking a while to actually talk things over. We're not too far away from getting into Skyscraper. All the players are in the lobby, but we are kind of waiting for FaZe to finish their little prep talk.
Yeah, at this point, obviously, it's down to the refs to sort of get things going.
Yeah, come on, crack the whip. Get him in.
Get things
moving.
There we go. They're off.
On the chairs now.
Off to a start, off to the end, potentially. Obviously, as you said, it's maybe bank after this, depending how it goes. You can see there was a bit of frustration from the side of FaZe afterwards, and yeah, there would be. Regardless of how the loss goes, I think losing to FURIA for them is frustrating, to put it lightly.
Well, I think that the frustration would come from leading and playing well and arguably being the better team for a large portion of that map, and then it all just falls away. A lot of it coming down to moments. You know, you think about after... So this is the thing. You think back to like the KDS Vault 3K, total control. They go 4-2 up. That brawl, you recall the Rome game that we had on basement, and that was won out by FaZe. They go 5-2 up. Everything up to that point, up until the 7th round, was FaZe winning the clutches, having the bigger moments, and just naturally playing a better game. So then you think, okay, what's happened after that is FURIA decided to then play a little bit more compact, a little bit more default, but also more safer. And that started to win them a couple of rounds. Then there's the little micro moments. Then, you know, recall in basement, Handy has the opportunity to get a free kill on Philippox. That then fails. Philippox then has control of Lounge. So that's a tiny little moment. Nade, 1v2 clutch. Down below, JV92, 1v2 clutch in gym. So it's like 3 rounds in a row essentially come down to these little micro moments that go in FURIA's favor. It's a 7-5 map win. But it really was just that close. FaZe could have easily taken that map, and that then leads to frustrations. Now, unfortunately, it seems as if we very much like to extend this particular day. This has been a very long day, and we've had a PC crash, but it seems like we've just got them back into the lobby. So I don't think we are too far away from Skyscraper beginning.
I would hope not, and I'm sure the players are in the same boat, obviously. Thank you, everyone, for being with us throughout. What is... you know, you forget how much siege.
Don't forget, there's no siege tomorrow.
No siege tomorrow.
There's no siege tomorrow, so enjoy it while you can.
At this point, we might...
Although we could make it to tomorrow.
That's what I was going to say. At this point, we might extend into tomorrow, but we'll see.
Do we get another day rate then? All right, let's get underway. Skyscraper coming up. Second map, FURIA with the social predictions, and they've also got the lead heading into Skyscraper, defending first up too. So an opportunity for them to start well defensively on Skyscraper, build a little bit of a lead, put the doubt into the minds of FaZe Clan as we head into the ban phase.
Monty, the first removal. The Man Mountain has not had a run out at this tournament as much as maybe before, but shields are in a good place, and he's a very good shield, especially in the hands of FaZe, who utilize him pretty consistently.
Oh, Tuberau.
Okay, that's a little bit less of a sort of drag thing, but it's almost one of my favorite things about when teams who know each other very well ban against each other, is they will play specifics. And Tuberau has been banned in at least one of the games I remember seeing it, but it's so far from common in comparison to the sort of hefty, familiar blocks of bans.
Well, the FURIA ban makes a lot of sense. A lot of chokeholds on Skyscraper, so the F0 mines can have a really large influence. Same can then also be said for the Montang. You know, you think about when you're attacking on Skyscraper, being able to push through these chokeholds. Think about Black Stairs and the control that you can get with that Montang. So those two, total sense. Ying, self-explanatory. Everyone knows how strong those Candelas are, especially for entries and getting in towards the sites. But yeah, the Tuberau does perplex me a little bit. I mean, it can be very useful on like Office and Exhibition, but I don't know how useful it really could or should be elsewhere. I think there's better bans But again, as you said, it's like maybe it's that target ban towards FURIA explicitly, and that they understand something that I'm not as privy to.
Well,
I'm not like Jesse. You know, I'm sure Jesse would have the answer.
Jesse has a lot of answers and a lot of numbers.
Maybe we could call him in.
Like, what if we just call him? Like, physically
just call him on the phone.
No,
Jesse, what do you think?
Jesse, please help. We go again. Now, Skyscraper, as we pointed out before, seems to be a place that only we are privy to, as, I mean, I don't know if it was played in the Scars game earlier on, but otherwise, it has just been you and I that have cast it. Preparation for the potential jump out here gives them at least the trade safety. It is rarely seen, but it is seen. You may as well have the Claymores in preparation for it. The window on the bottom of Black Stairs and allows you to play on towards Karaoke Window with a little bit more sort of joy. Seems like they're going to formulate themselves for a pretty standard setup and take here. Get rid of the castles, get that blitz potentially angled up the bottom of Black Stairs, maybe scream your way around towards the top, and you can see that Handy is doing exactly that. Draw the attention, open up the door here, and yeah, just try and root this player. Now he's scared about potential angles above watching onto him. It's a very easy pickup if he's not paying attention, but they need to force this player, Nade, who will start getting those smoke canisters dropped behind him, and then he can focus his gun to the front. There goes the castle. And there goes the drones. He knows he's a target.
Yeah, I mean, Nade is playing one of the more difficult positions. Top Black Stairs, you got pressure on the balcony in front of you, but then also down below. That's why you would probably want some help down below, but you just don't have enough defenders to be able to cover the bottom of Black Stairs. So you have to be very much ready for both sides. That's why you have the shield blocking the balcony. And Nade actually does find the kill onto his brother. Blitz has opted to try and go up the stairs. Hasn't worked. JB's fallen too, but it does mean Nade is still holding this position. Gas Babes can help him delay, turn his back. Of course, he can now watch for the push while the smoke is up, stopping the balcony push. And he does have the diffuser. So I wonder if there's a world in which FURIA trying to get some bodies here and really shore up this position, because you don't want to lose Nade, and then they get the kit, and they get then the position. So this becomes a big part of the round now, this little battle towards Black Stairs.
Cyber is so low that even a drift of a pellet would stop him. Vidaking goes down in the outside door too, and that leaves 50 seconds for a 4 versus 2. Now, JV92 and Nade are both hurt.
He's not going to expect hurt here.
But he's not going to expect hurt here. Holding onto Terrace, an easy pickup. Leaving just KDS underneath. And, well, with everything pretty much to do, and a concern watch sprays up towards the fight, but it's easier for them with the pre-aim. Does hit a pre-aim onto at least Nade on the stairs, but he was slowly being encircled from all angles there at that point. They open with their first defense. It is not the most outlandish place, but as you said at the start of this phase, they only need, 2 attacks, and they'll probably be pretty happy.
They only need 1 if you want to go off history. But yeah, I mean, honestly, that's just a really well-played round from Nade. He's the one playing the hardest position because he's got to watch for 2 sides of the angle. We didn't get to see the actual push from Handy. I don't know if he just went by himself, but he did lose his life to Nade. And they had Vert hold as well. They also had cover for the balcony. I mean, it's just a really good team play from FURIA. Nade's going to get the plaudits because he's the one that's kind of like really in the trenches there over towards Black Stairs. But he had a lot of help as well, and he could trust his teammates. It's a very much a position where you've got to trust your teammates. Have got you covered in certain areas, either from the Vert hold looking towards bottom Black Stairs or watching the balcony for you as well. So really good round from FURIA. They did nothing wrong. The FaZe, you could probably question the world in which it's like, why has Handy got the kit and he's solo pushing Black Stairs? Yes, you're playing the Blitz, but you probably want to push as a team.
I think that's sort of how it boils down to as well, in just how telegraphed the approach was, and the fundamental job still kind of needed to be done. As you said, we didn't really see how the Blitz lost their life on the charge up, but it's a juggler utility. There needs to be a bit of pressure there, and the options that you have in terms of sort of blinding the operators and getting them out of there. Is it just Grimbees you're hoping the push can be backed by? Why didn't you opt for maybe, the Capitao to force the energy if you know that's the take you want? Because that can just get a cut round. But either way, Quick pressure on towards the VIP wall. Will they be able to stop the breach in time? Yes.
Yeah. And I like the Clash pick as well, because you know they're wanting to play shield, whether it be the Blitz or the Blackbeard. The Clash can help shore up certain positions, especially off us an exhibition. And you can see, of course, the Grim Bee's already going out early from Cyber with the Kawan Hive launcher. Expecting FURIA to be aggressive here on the defense. Even though you've got the Clash, you can still get in the face of FaZe. Really just try and stop them from being able to get into good positions. Cyber trying to push them out of certain positions, though, down below. And Souls with the Blackbeard. Shield up, tries to just peek in, get some information. But again, nade on that Clash. Oh, Hurt's just gone down. Cops a stray bullet. Cops a stray little shot, and he is down on the floor. Could get brought back up. The Clash can certainly help with that.
I mean, I think that's it. Obviously, he was just playing around the terrace door. He got caught from the deep shots. He should be able to get him back up, but they're worried about the rush. And also the rotate to Cyber's there around the back of them. The sprays over the top. The Blackbeard preps himself up to be that watcher. That bit of damage as the rotate on the backs is said. Handy and Cyber. They're trying to get the pinch. They're trying to force the players out. Finally, picked up, but in the meantime, Cyber's made his move. JV92 is caught out. The Clash is trying to draw attention, and Philippox aggressively retake.
And getting Hertz back up. Yes, they lost JV, but Hertz has a Nitro Cell. So extra utility that is brought back into the round, and they might not even be aware of the fact that he has got back up. KZ, big kill onto Souls. Suddenly, FURIA actually is just starting to stabilize a little bit.
Now the Clash going outside, getting the read, slowing them down, making everything hurt, and making them know, yeah, we know you're there. There's two of your only three players, and we're just going to swing onto it. KZ gets one as KDS breaks his way through right into the desk, and he's sort of still angsty because the Clash is just so problematic. There's some support that doesn't last very long, and now KDS, as if he's in a goldfish bowl.
He can't do anything. That's a great shot.
Watched, but
yeah, that's a lovely kill.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he was never going to be able to do much more than just get a nice little stat pad, and it was a very nice stat pad. But the Clash was the biggest difference. You could see the absolute influence there from Nade on the Clash and what it's able to do on Office and Exhibition. And also, FaZe just kind of played right into it. It's just that Office side main breach kind of hold, not a lot of pressure over towards, say, VIP. There's no map-wide clear or anything towards first floor. Besides, I think there was one player for FaZe, but again, really one-dimensional, a pretty boring-looking attack from FaZe, and credit to FURIA, especially Nade. 2 rounds in a row. Nade has just played so well. He's only got 2 kills, 1 death, 3 assists. It's not the most flashy-looking scoreline. Handy at 2 rounds into Clubhouse was like 7-1, but he has been so influential for FURIA in the role that he has been playing. So sometimes we get very much enamored with these like big kill numbers. You don't always have to get kills to have a big impact. Nade is having a huge impact in the first 2 rounds.
Big opener here. 2 rounds in a row. KZ getting himself thrown into all of this as well. But, you know, it starts that conversation. You have expectations of things. But if you look at the sort of bigger picture here, how many rounds in a row is this now for FURIA? How many? Will they be able to thread together? There was sort of questions posed at the end of FaZe's previous map. And find themselves still encircling that area. FaZe now with this chance at a bit more of the control on the back line. You're going towards the tertiary side. We talked about the importance of this side time and time again.
It's the biggest importance, yeah. Barbecue and Kitchen has to be won by FaZe. If you lose this one, it's by no means over, but it's just a little bit more tricky to get back. But the amount of work done from Handy on the shock drone here cannot go unnoticed. He's already gotten a couple of Vulcan canisters, and that's going to help them a lot. And also, somehow, JV's taken some damage. He was in one of the... Yeah, okay. He was in the vicinity of the Vulcan canisters that got popped.
Yeah, they're done. I mean, the fact you could still see them burning there shows how important it is to get rid of that utility early within the opening minute. Is a bit of a frustrating loss here for the side of FURIA. Cybers getting control here of VIP stairs, giving them options. Again, FaZe's sort of prep game, and they're angling up of opportunities is always very well put together. The creation of phantom pressure and the possibility of being shot in the face seems to be a happy place for them to be in now. A slow creep towards gold. There is a very close fight that's ready to go. The breach onto the wall itself will start to come out. Will they swing with the shotgun? It's sprayed bullets over the top as Philippox does find souls in the meantime. KDS trades them out. And now at this point, how long are you going to stick around? 1:20, you want to fight the vertical as long as possible, but if you survive, you can peel back, rotate your way back round. Handy gets Philippox. eyes on Karaoke window. The rotate is caught out as well. And the aggression of FaZe pressing and pressing and pressing has netted results. The spray doesn't get anything. And it leaves just KZ drifting up the main stairs, being shot right back down. FaZe take the tertiary.
Yeah, really well executed from FaZe. They take the tertiary. They never even got to see the tertiary. It was their Tea Room and Karaoke battle, despite the fact it was Barbecue and Kitchen. That was the site, but of course, as is the nature of the particular site, you've got to clear above before you can really go down below. 2-1. FaZe get themselves on the board, and we get a tactical timeout by FaZe Clan.
Yeah, I saw the hands sort of go up. I mean, it's par for the course almost in this game. The timeouts
It's
after
a great
the win.
timeout. To explain it, right? You've won the tertiary site. We're halfway through the first half, and you might be like, well, FaZe just won the round. Why are you taking a timeout? Because there's the emphasis on the importance of winning the primary sites now, and they will be happening in the next 2 rounds. Tea Room Karaoke, Office and Exhibition. Forget Barbecue and Kitchen, which will probably be the last round of the half. I mean, pending, of course, if what FaZe do on the primaries. But it does mean FaZe are putting a lot of emphasis on winning at least one of the next 2 rounds, which 2 attacking rounds on Skyscraper could very well be enough. So clearly, they're looking at these next 2 rounds, and they're saying, we need to try and win one of these. Here's how we're going to win one of these.
You went up. And great positioning there by Cyber again. I love the sort of procedural aggression they kept going in and on with. At this point, the team talk is one that's going to try and carry FaZe on, at least, as he said. The sort of win conditions, the ever-changing idea of what marks success for each team on each half against each opponent. Now, back towards some of the tougher places to play. Sort of talked about the approach here. Didn't quite net them any results. Went for the shield up the stairs. It's a known play, and they didn't really prepare for the full threat of it. This time, a bit more of the buck underneath potentially. They have doubled down on the hard breach. It feels like they're going to try and get control of the opposite side, push across, get Geisha, and do the traditional longer take.
Yep.
The one thing that I would say is going to be the keen awareness is sometimes, you know, you'll have the flank watch, the Nomad, or the gridlock just to watch off the back of the stairs, but a good team with good communications and good drones should have that same game, and even in some cases bait people round into being executed.
Yeah, FURIA certainly don't want to be giving up one of these primary sites and then allowing FaZe to tie the scoreboard up.
No, the scoreboard is something that they're going to try and keep the distance on for now. Yeah, it's never quick on Skyscraper. You never find yourself screaming in to these sort of fights and the moments. And you can see that they have a good idea again, once again, FURIA, of how FaZe are trying to approach this, how FaZe are trying to structure this. And this is the important part, right? You get them moving.
Well, the one point of difference that I can see right now is Herd's over towards delivery and pantry, so he's offering at least some kind of value a little bit more down below. Does have a nitrocell, and probably not a position that you will necessarily see all that often from defense when you're defending Tea Room Karaoke. They can be a flank option, he can be a vert option. Often canister gets popped. Minute and a half remaining. This is at the point of the round now for FURIA where they can start to pull back a bit on this horizontal hold, try and make sure that they hold drum mezzanine rather than forward positions closer towards Office and Exhibition. You don't need to hold those at this point in the round. It's a very slow approach from FaZe, but it's just kind of the way this round is always going to play out. If you do opt for that sweep across and try and force the defenders back into sight, force them to be quite congested. 2 gas babes, so Nate has used one of them. And Hertz does lose his life to KDS. It was actually on the rappel. Hertz was down below, so he must have made his way back up and just got a little bit careless coming back towards the site. And it's an opening kill for FaZe, which is certainly a quite handy thing to have into the final 50 seconds. It's going to make their attack far more likely to be successful. A big effort now on FURIA to still maintain Drum's position. KZ takes a bit of damage. Now he's forced to give it up.
Well, the blinds come around the corner, ready to go for the sweep, and there's one right back and forth. JV and Vidaking are able to find kills of their own, and Vidaking and JV then almost suffer both of them, but Only one can stand triumph in the 4 versus 3 versus 2. But then it's suddenly just one. Truly traded control, and FaZe, they know exactly where he is, but look at the time. Do they try and go for the push? They're tucked on the plant, the pre-fire, the cover. There it is,
well played,
Cyber. Beautiful lockdown.
I mean, great bullet control there from Cyber. He's done that really, really nicely. Right at the end, he made it seem like he'd ran out of ammunition and needed to go back to cover to reload. He still had a couple in the chamber. He then is expecting the nade to then push out. And he does do that, fires off, gets the kill. Big round win for FaZe, 2-2. 2 attacking rounds in Skyscraper has set us up nicely now to find that third map of Bank for these two teams. Long way to go, but it puts FaZe in a very, very commanding position now to get these attacking rounds nice and early. Still with 2 rounds to go in the half as well, mind you. I mean, FaZe are in a really good spot now, and it pays dividends that they took that tactical timeout, talked things through as to what they wanted to do over the remainder of the half in a positive light.
Yep.
Rather than taking a tactical timeout when you're down a couple of rounds and you're trying to bring it back, they go early and it pays off. Really good to see.
I mean, Bank feels inevitable now, but it's a game of 2 halves. We'll have to obviously see how FaZe...
Absolutely. Long way to go, but
yep.
It's the building blocks that have now been put in place by FaZe. I know the scoreboard is equal, but they are ahead right now.
Now, obviously, when you sort of cite the history of these two teams, this was one of the maps that was taken on quite, or even Bank was one of the maps that was taken on quite early on in the series. Skyscraper was immediately after. FaZe did win that out 7-5 Skyscraper. Bank was 5-7 to FURIA. So although, you know, it's been played since then, we've got to cite the classic scores, and it's probably one where FURIA's not at the end of the world. Going to a 3-mapper, how close it was. I'm sure they like to try and piece things together here. They've got to kind of make sure they're not on even. Anything less, I think, than a 4 versus a 4-2.
I mean, if FaZe get 3 or 4 attacking rounds, you may as well start loading up Bank.
Yep.
I mean, FURIA are more than capable of getting attacking rounds, and this ends up being, you know, that kind of 50-50 Skyscraper. That certainly is possible, but if you look at the statistics and even the historical nature of this map, you know, FaZe getting 3 to 4 attacking rounds puts them in a really, really good position. So that's kind of what we're basing that off. Nade once again on the clash when it comes to Office and Exhibition. Last time this was a bit of a masterclass from him and from FURIA. This was one of their better played sites. FaZe, though, certainly no pressure now. Having found the 2 attacking rounds already, anything else is a bonus in this half. Now, Hertz playing behind the bomb chassis. Was got caught last time. Running around the site and got downed, eventually picked back up. I'd like to see FaZe try and really avoid Nade on the clash and play around him rather than through him. Well, that's a big kill from Hertz.
I was going to say, Hertz plays on towards Soul. They lose some of the control and just the watch on the main stairs.
Round's over.
Philippox sat and just was almost gifted that. Obviously, a bit of a lapse in the intel game has cost them massively. And as you said, the round is pretty much over. But, you know, there's always still that opportunity. The very hard players to ride off. They've got themselves still tucked onto the main stairs position. There's going to be a bit of a rotate here from Vidaking. Shiba probably needs to try and get close enough for the 2 players to operate on a trade system. But when you have a clash, again, you've seen how good they are at getting that info of the approaching attackers. There is at least one, but Cyber almost dies, just trying to get himself back up close towards it. A fight is probably not needed to be peaked by Herds, but it's buying time and has bought a lot of the blood of Cyber. 2 versus 3 from where we were isn't a million miles away, but the clash in one set of charge will probably be able to knock out Vidaking. In the meantime, the guns do the job. They are back up in the lead, 3-2. They try and get themselves a 4th.
Yeah, and if they can get the 4th, it's still not completely awful. I mean, there's no map in the game where getting 5-1 is absolutely necessary. So 4-2 half here for FURIA is more than fine. They will have plenty of opportunities because the nature of Barbecue and Kitchen should provide you with the opportunity to get 2 attacking rounds. So you'll have those chances. Really clinical round for FURIA. Not much really needs to be said. There was no real opportunity for FaZe. Hertz getting that opening kill really just kind of set the tone, and well played. 3-2. Good response as well for FURIA, because, you know, giving up 2 attacking rounds in a row on Skyscraper doesn't feel good. And going into Office and Exhibition at that point in time, I think FaZe probably had their tails up a little bit.
Yep.
You know, a little bit of that momentum, a little bit of that extra focus. And for FURIA to win it in that fashion, okay, that's good. Good fight back. Now you got to win the tertiary. Barbecue and Kitchen to close out the half to get to 4-2. If they do that, FaZe don't have that little buffer anymore. They don't have that little edge that you would have on Skyscraper naturally. If you can get to that 3 attacking margin, it would be all pretty much tied up going into the half. Siege is funny like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 4-2 is essentially pretty much even if you think about it.
Well, I know you said 5-1 isn't enough. Or, well, it doesn't need to be enough. It wasn't enough last time when I was talking about the SI sort of statistics. W7M, as they were known at the time, obviously now FURIA.
They went 5-1 up.
Went 5-1 up, and then from then on got to the other half. And
that was I actually recall that 1 attacking round that FaZe won. I said at the time that could be enough, and that was at the point when it was a 5-1. And some might have thought I was crazy, but that 1 attacking round was enough. That was the difference. It was the only one found.
So again, at this point, FaZe, they've already sort of gone above and beyond their potential wants, but an even, and it just sort of guarantees how quickly this could go. Not to write out the second half or FURIA, but statistics and history give you your guidance. And then when they do things cooler or they break it, that's just impressive.
Last time out, the shock drone work, I think it was Handy who was on it instead of Vidiking this time, but it was absolutely impeccable. The amount of Vulcan canisters that were popped really cleared out a lot of that top floor utility, making it a pretty easy round for FaZe to capitalize upon. This time Vidiking on the Twitch with those shock drones. Handy on the Deimos. Herds once again finds an opening pick.
Very much.
It's been a bit of a rough one for Herds in terms of overall kills, but he's been able to do some good work early in the round. KZ, honestly quite fortunate to keep his life intact.
Yeah, they're very much enjoying that sort of slower setup game here, because it's allowing FURIA these moments to like take little bites, little sort of parts out of the approach of FaZe. They're very active right now. Some of the previous rounds, they've sort of toyed with the idea but been a bit more passive. It's a lot of looking outside the map and looking for these fights.
And of course, didn't really touch on it, but the death of Cyber now alleviates any of that vert pressure for the side of FURIA. They don't have to worry about, you know, the Buck and the Skeleton Key open up those floorboards, so you know, less pressure on the site. So you could go back first floor if you want, but they will look to try and defend that second floor as much as possible. KT up close with the shotgun, and then I thought he got the kill, but he only got the down. Good enough, you'll take it. And honestly, at this point now, FURIA should be able to get themselves that 4th round here on the tertiary. Soul's not winning this battle, pulls out the pistol, hoping for a miracle, but answered only by the pistol of Philippox as Vidiking finds himself in a 1 versus 4 with 14 seconds left. Yes, he got one. JV allows no more. No entry through delivery and pantry. It's a 4-2 half in favor of FURIA. Job largely done on defense, but now they've got to go find attacking rounds in the second half against FaZe on Skyscraper, and that's not going to be an easy feat.
That's it. This is the test, right? This is that true sort of moment, and obviously, you know, in the previous map, FURIA got into the second half. They found some success on their map. It's a different half, different map, different play of sort of position, and there's so much stress on your attack. Now, some of the sort of fluidity, the combination that they built into after what was a bit of a scrappy start towards the end of it was very well put on Clubhouse. You just need to try and reach into those reserves, reach into that last bit of energy after a very long week. Maybe they can get one of the early ones here onto either of the top floor sites, get themselves up to 5-3. Potentially even 5-2. If they can pull it off on the first one, then...
You got to remember as well, FaZe don't have a timeout.
Nope.
They opted to use it in the first half, and they did get a round win after that and got themselves the 2 attacking rounds, which again might be enough here. FURIA still have their timeout in the back pocket if they so need it. But yeah, I mean, if FURIA come out and win, say, Tyrium Karaoke to kickstart the second half, go 5-2 up, that's a pretty decent buffer. You're at that point 1 round away from OT secured, which
It would be another 5-2 comeback,
And
potentially, though.
Although FaZe do have OT defense, so they will get to play defense twice if it does go to overtime on Skyscraper kill.
Steady cut through on towards the top of the VIP stairs, but nobody's taking the bait as of yet. As I say, somebody might drift close. KDS suffers. I don't know if they truly knew KDS was there.
No,
but
I think it's just softball.
just softball. Did a lot of damage.
If it wasn't for that wall, he'd be dead probably.
Yep. Bit of a blow. Now the wall is open if electric. It'll give a bit of an audio cue if they try and move through it, at least on the zap damage, but otherwise you're still under a lot of pressure here. Again, remember where the site is. They're trying to clear them across and catch them at Shrine window, at Terrace window. There's nothing that's directly driving them away other than just steady catch of drone here. So who is going to try and hunt down Cyber and Souls?
Feel like I got static in my headset now. 90 seconds. And FURIA, when are they going to make that move? Aisha looking to get opened up. Makeup wall. Trying to put some pressure on to Handy. Does have a mute jammer right at his feet. Hello, Casey slipped in through the back door. Got the kill. Onto the Warden of KDS. But remember, he was low. So, honestly, this is not completely awful for FaZe. They lose their low health Warden, but do get the kill onto KZ.
Souls was in a position to trade it out.
Still no map control for FURIA, though.
No, that's the sort of worry, right? Sure, Philippox is about to hop and maybe try and take a fight with Cyber. He's not too far away on the reception desk, but does he know? Cyber is hot,
He's
ready,
yeah, Philippox is dead.
waiting. Or maybe he does.
He just doesn't check this. Oh, he does! Oh, and he
does!
I'll take it all back! Philippox has the right game sense. Checks the hard left corner for a roaming Cyber. Gets the kill, and with 30 seconds left, they have the numbers advantage, pushing towards the primary site on this map. As Philippox finds another, it's all down to Handy. In a 1 versus 3, spots one at the doorway. Full white can't make a move, and in the end, it's Herds who comes around the corner. Philippox has a big say in this round, and indeed, an attacking round has been found to kickstart the second half for FURIA. They go 5-2 up here on Skyscraper.
When were we last 5-2 up?
Clubhouse.
Yeah.
What happened? I can't recall.
Oh, there was a big comeback. Round after round after round, the defending team just locked it back in and pulled it back.
Oh, no.
Don't get too excited, people at home. I still feel like we are far from over yet. It was good motion that sort of opened things up. And again, the knowledge of Cyber underneath, being able to get that kill, it gives you a body. Because remember, there's only about 30 seconds left, right? If you don't have that kill on Cyber, if Cyber activates 10 seconds later, maybe, then suddenly you've got this flank. Suddenly you've maybe got a different face of the end of the round. Doesn't happen, obviously. But now look, the change here. I think they realized that they'd been red, so they say, well, we need to play against that intel game. The Mute, the Mozzie, the Vigil. Let's make sure that that 30 seconds of their confidence becomes 15 seconds of that confidence, that we can sort of push and stress that game around the space offered to us. You have the air jab to try and keep some control behind you, and the Blackbeards try and open the face in front. They'll be filling in the middle bit, but still, for a team like FURIA that is playing this drone in this intel game, FaZe are really ready to take that to its limits.
And it's also where FaZe might get desperate now. 3 rounds down, go for a couple spawn peaks, try and get that early advantage. So far, the last 5 rounds that have been played, 4 have been opening kills the way of FURIA, so they're dominating in that respect, and they do so again. Make that 5 from 6. With Handy's death on the Vigil, shuts down some of that roam potential, of which is still there with the likes of Cyber. Pressure on now for FaZe. That pick for FURIA here gives them the advantage now to begin this 8th round on Office and Exhibition. Certainly, again, a very solid primary site on Skyscraper.
Sprays over the Samurai window, some pressure coming either side, and they're being a lot more direct this time round. It's putting all of that in towards Souls right now, who just has to slip his way back out of there. there's the chance that the breach and all of this happening, again, much quicker. Tried to, as I said, stress that time, stress that pressure, but it's nothing that FURIA want to sit around on.
Nitro, 1 of 3, and that one is not going to land. 2 more remaining in the hands of Vidiking and KDS.
It's all just sort of baiting right onto the Blackbeard. It's making a lot of sound, and it's almost showing how angsty FaZe are. As he said,
They got a drone watching the VIP wall.
How
does he not get that kill?
I don't know, but now anything could get the end of Cyber. About 20 seconds have passed. All we've really had is that one engagement. There is a take onto Cyber, the finish. Quick.
I mean, at this point, probably Vidiking has to make the move. The timing could flick back. The reflexes are insane as he gets the kill on the JV. Does still keep hope alive for FaZe. Has to make his way back to site eventually. And look how low he is.
Now, KDS, what do you want to do? You pointed out before, you can take risks against the Blackbeard. It's not easy. Well, he's not going to be able to. Nade has the cover, 40 seconds, and now you are in the site alone. The long watch is very short. 6-2. And they are just in cruise control, FURIA.
Well, they're dominating the early rounds, right? So, I mean, I always put a big emphasis on opening kills, even though statistically it's not the be-end-all, right? You can win a lot of rounds in Siege where you're not getting that first pick. But if you do it enough over a large course of rounds, over the course of the entire tournament, it is going to be obviously statistically better for you to be getting those picks because you're playing with an advantage more often than, say, a disadvantage. And that's what's happening in this game right now. In this map right now, there's only been 2 rounds that FaZe have actually got that first pick, and they couldn't convert in one of them anyway. So it's been total domination from FURIA in the early portions. And on a map like Skyscraper, if you've got those extra numbers, it's so much more difficult to either attack or to defend. And so that's what's happening right now for FURIA. 6-2 up. They're constantly getting these early picks. FaZe then doubt themselves. They have to adapt and change the way they're defending. Players can't say extra roam. You've got to bring bodies back to site, yada, yada, yada. So it's been a masterclass, and I said it before, but this FURIA roster, to me, feels like they're peaking at the right time. And I think that's going to be a lot of the discussion that you're going to see on Reddit, anywhere. On the analyst desk to begin Phase 2, for example, I'm sure they'll touch on it, and they'll look at, they'll make some fancy graphs as they do. They'll show FURIA last year and missing majors and yada, yada, yada. And now they'll show how they're playing here. Because if they win this, they've got 4 match points, they will finish atop their group. And they will be in a very good position for the rest of this SI. Looking for their 2nd hammer in a row.
Imagine if they're able to just peel themselves back in and just from the year that they've had to where they go. I talked about the potential chance of demons, of coming against people that you'll play against and suffer more, and maybe it's FaZe on that flip of the coin that just starts shutting down. That was a good lean back in. JV92 takes a bit of damage on the swing and probably not going to take a risk that quick. Again, they're trying to keep the pace of the game hot. They know FaZe are trying to push right back out against it. Herds, in the meantime, slipping their way along, removing the bulletproof that's tucked to the green window. Now the eyes on drum are clear, and again, it's a pretty standard setup. You talk about clearing your way across the top floor. You talk about isolating that vertical space. Again, remember where the site is, what they've opted to sort of hold on to here, FaZe, and the fact that they're keeping themselves moving and rotating. Well, is it the right decision to come to a tertiary site? It's down for them to sort of prove it.
My belief is always, if you're going to get back, you have to win the tertiary at some point anyway. So you may as well just get it over and done with. And I think that's always a really good mindset to have. You're not going to be able to bring this back without eventually winning on the tertiary side. Minute 20 left, and so far FaZe have been able to keep FURIA at bay. Logic bomb called out by Philippe Pox. Moving forward, Nade through Terrace with the kit on the Blackbeard. He is a little bit mindful of course, down below. It screams to me that FURIA don't have a lot of information, and a double kill in quick succession for FaZe opens up the round beautifully for them. towards bottom of Black Stairs now. FURIA want to make their way towards the site, but they haven't got enough numbers to clear above. This is going to be a very difficult round for them to now bring back. And it seems as if the call to go to the tertiary site, Barbecue and Kitchen, is going to pay dividends for FaZe. Yes, Hertz does get one, but so much work to do with the kit in a bad spot as well. So many numbers still for FaZe. Hertz will find himself a second. Great for the numbers, but not going to help them win the round. FaZe extend their life here on Skyscraper. 6-3. 3 more opportunities, though, for FURIA to close this series out and finish first in the group.
Now, as you said, they still have options. They still have Karaoke Tea Room. They still have Exhibition Trophy. If they're feeling really wild, they also have Bedroom. But I think that probably adds into the whole statistic of not picked sites at this point, so...
I think it was a site picked at SI. Pretty certain I recall bathroom, bedroom at one point.
I've seen it, but I don't think I've seen it this tournament.
No, not this tournament. Well, we've done all the Skyscrapers, so we would know.
That's very true. 6-3. We're back in towards Karaoke, and, well, this one, I'm not going to say it was easily won, but...
I wrote down, actually, easily won.
Oh. Then you're going to say it's easily won.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that it came down to a lot of sort of reacting on the pressure. There was a trade out on the immediate kill, but remember how it started was KZ charged their way across the top of sort of Shrine. The trade came out, but it drew focus away from the rest of the FURIA players who were then able to sort of shape themselves up around Geisha and around the pressure they could apply there. You know, it was an important first move, but if that first kill from KZ doesn't happen this time and it's just a straight out kill, then it's just a 5 versus 4 and the door doesn't get opened in a similar sort of fashion. There's also the take on towards Cyber as well, who I said before was like rotating around underneath, caught out by a bit of intel. And now, well, they've still got some of that denial, but chance for the Deimos to hunt up through the verticality. Are they going direct? I thought for a second KDS was just going to walk their way up the stairs, but instead, round onto Kitchen underneath the hatch potentially, so they can try and offer some support towards getting Geisha Wall open. Maybe he's hoping somebody would drop or they're watching it, but he has eyes just on that rotate and he's in a great spot to punish it. But I think the Mirror had an idea somebody was down the stairs. Which is why they were so sort of attentive in watching it. Nade. They are not too far away. Claymore underneath the drop. They would have definitely heard that. In the meantime, the Deimos drifting themselves closer to offer some support. It's a big fight on the top of Black Stairs currently, as the Blackbeard is juggling attention. You've got Vidic concerned about those extra players coming around behind him. They are watching for it. They're also with the concerns of themselves above at this point. There hasn't been a straight route through. The fight is scrappy with a lot of damage done to Nade. Deimos gets the track. They knew the position. The light wall covers some of the motion. They're baiting C4, trying to bait utility to be thrown at them in this position before they charge in. But there is the charge, the motion, the catch on the first player. And we might be on the precipice now of 8-2. FURIA. They're knocking on the wall, but there's only one body in it. Nade's taking a lot of damage as well. The man with the kit at this point is they're keenly aware some of this focus and growth. 50 seconds. Are they just going to go for it? The smoke covers. KZ's in, the shield on the back, and he might go for the plant. There's a throw of a catch that doesn't quite hit them with the utility, but the crossfire's there. Now they need to push inside, but no! A confirmed plant, and Souls goes down. But there's JV92, a 3 versus 2 versus 1 Cyber. The only one stood, gets the Blackbeard. Might be able to get himself a teammate up here and will, because the only other nearby person is JV92, who's also down. But it is just Souls and Cyber versus Herds and Philippox. A long watch. A big gap they've got across. They slip by the first bit, but it's a very loud defuse and an open soft wall for them to fight on. They rotate round so they can't be swung. The cover is there. There it is! 2-0 for FURIA. And what could have been a series that went on and on and on as it did before. FURIA wanted to bury this one fast.
What a way to finish off the Six Invitational group stage. 7-3 on Skyscraper from FURIA, and they take the series 2-0 against FaZe. Certainly not a result that I was anticipating in the fashion that it took place. But hey, FURIA, they are peaking at the right time, at the right tournament. First place in their group for all their troubles throughout 24, post-SI, post-winning that hammer. They're back, baby, big time. And they are looking to reclaim that throne that is still theirs. They'd like another hammer. Why not?
Why not? It goes great with, well, your other hammer. I mean, FaZe. Obviously, this is the first defeat that they've taken during Phase 1. It doesn't obviously do anything close to end their run. Still in the upper bracket. They're second, which, if you don't know how the seeding system works, it means they get to choose their opponent from the third places that have finished in the other groups, I believe. I don't know how that gets formulated in terms of who gets to pick first. That's for the referees to decide. But FURIA, they get that bye, that precious position, the confirmation they'll finish at worst 12th. But I have a very, very strong feeling, Jake, they'll do a lot better than that.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly hope so. Wonderful double there from Hertz at the end, and I think FURIA just showed their class and their experience and what they're capable of when they are playing some of their best Siege. And I think a large portion of 2024, after